So the next we have Mr. Mummy Man, Lanolinov. He's a conjurer. He has a big kit, honestly. Like it's kind of hard to explain everything. But unlike everybody else from the Phantom Troupe, he's not from Meteor City. Unlike a lot of them, I guess. He's not from Meteor City. He's from this small warrior tribe of these dancing warriors. Like he's made up of these dancing warriors. So in his tribe, everybody, since they were kids, they kind of like put rods and holes through their bodies. So when they grow up, they'll have like these big holes, big gaps in their body that when they dance, they're able to produce sound. Now, it's also said that in that tribe, the warriors that produce the most beautiful sound are some of the strongest warriors. So the sounds created from his holes, they also seem to confuse enemies. So this isn't really proven or stated or anything, but it was kind of just, it can be assumed when looking at the one fight with the Chimera Ants. So when he does certain dances, because he is from a dancing warrior tribe, he's able to do different conjurations. So they all fall under the name of Battle Cantabile. I might be saying that wrong, but it always starts with the prologue. So whenever he does this one dance, he's able to channel or conjure Battle Cantabile, the prologue, and he conjures up his tribal armor and his and spear. So with that, he is able to fight like hand to hand, but there's also other stuff that he can do. So I just want to touch on that as well. So the prologue itself, he tried to, after he conjured it, he tried to like dash against the Chimera Ant and try to stab it, but it was ineffective. So from there, we can kind of assume that it's actually probably not that strong. So meaning he's probably not that strong in terms of, physical combat. I mean, he is a conjurer, so it's not his first trait, obviously, but it's not as strong as a Chimera Ant's armor, so it can kind of be assumed that it's not that strong or not that effective against other Nen users specifically. But the thing is, that's probably the weakest ability that he has. Because after that, you see that after the prologue, he's able to do other conjurations, like this one that we've seen called Battle Cantabile Jupiter, where after he does another dance, he conjures up a giant sphere, which chases down his target, so long as the target is able to hear Aloninov's sound that he produces from his holes, and it chases it down and it crushes it under the weight of a planet. It's a giant sphere that resembles Jupiter, hence the name. But it's a pretty crazy ability if you really think about it. But in terms of battle ability, because his physical fighting ability didn't seem that strong, I think he's at the bottom of B tier. Either bottom or mid. Somewhere along the lines of these three guys. So I'll just put him at the bottom just because, Now, Phaeton. Now, Phaeton's a really good case study because he's the fastest one out of the troupe. He's probably the one that uses the most technique, in fighting technique at least, as we saw from fight with Dazan. And he has a really ridiculous Nen ability. So he's an easy S tier, like easy S tier. But let me explain. So his ability is Pain Packer. He's a transmuter, and his Nen gets stronger the more damage he takes and the angrier that he is. So with Pain Packer, he's able to conjure up an armor that protects him from his next attack, essentially. And because his attacks following Pain Packer are assumed to be pretty ridiculous, and it's kind of implied by Finks that he has multiple of these attacks, and we've only ever seen one. So he's we believe his power is exponentially increased by how much damage and how much pain that he actually is in, hence the name Pain Packer, right? And the one that we saw was called the Rising Sun. So he emits, it's an emitter ability and I believe emitter and transmuter, but he emits like a small sun that like expands and it turns into like a small sun. Like it's a star. It burns like all the enemies to death around it, and it has a really massive hit radius. So when it happened, when it was shown in the Chimera Ant arc, all of the other members who were trying to watch the guys fight, they all had to run away because it has such a big radius. And it was even said that previously, when they tried to see the ability firsthand, that some of them almost died. So it can be said that Phaeton probably has one of the strongest Nen abilities out of everybody here, in terms of the Phantom Troupe, and that's why I think he's easily an S tier. He's probably the strongest of the troupe next to Chrollo. Now, speaking of Chrollo Dufuru, the boss, right? He's a specialist. His ability is Skill Hunter, Bandit Secret, and he's able to steal Nen abilities from targets, right? A couple of requirements must be met. Something along the lines of he needs to see the ability, he needs to ask them about the ability, they need to answer. He needs them to place their hand against the Skill Hunteration book that he has, the Bandit Secret book, and then he's able to steal their ability from them. Like, the original user wouldn't be able to use the ability anymore. And he would possess the ability so long as the user is not dead. So, a couple of requirements, he needs to use it as well. So he needs to hold the book open in his right hand to be able to use the ability on that page, because it's a book that he has, right? So he needs to keep it open with his right hand, so then he's able to use the book. So it limits him to his left hand. That said, I'll explain later, because he uses another ability afterwards where it kind of bypasses that. But it's a really strong ability. Like it allows him to use pretty much every single attribute, right? Every single Nen type, like how Kurapika has Emperor Time. This is also a very, very strong ability. It's so specialist, definitely OP, right? So the other skill I was talking about that he has, the other ability that he made up later is called Double Face, and it's a bookmark. So having the Bandit Secret open all the time and being able to fight with one hand obviously hinders him. So Double Face essentially allows him to place a bookmark where he wants, on which skill that he wants, which ability, and then he can just not hold on to the book anymore. So long as the bookmark's there, he's able to use that ability freely with both hands. Now, that's a really OP ability, if you really think about it. So he's able to conjure up, he's able to use like some of the strongest Nen abilities that he can find that he stole. Plus, he's able to bypass all the limitations that he had with it before. Now, another thing that he can use, and it's also really OP as well, is that he's able to bookmark a page, and then open up another page with his right hand, and have access to both abilities. Now, that's ridiculous, because now he has more versatility, he has a lot more to work with. So I think because of that, like it's easy. He was already an S tier before the Double Face, but now with the Double Face, he's definitely, no questions asked, the strongest one out of the troupe. That said, he's also clearly a really, really strong physically, an enhancer. He's very, very smart. He was able to keep up with Silva and Zeno 2-on-1 without any real problems. He's also very crafty. He has the Ben's knife coated in poison, where it's able to incapacitate, he said, a blue whale with just 1 millimeter or 1 milliliters worth of poison. So he's very, very crafty. He also has a lot of stolen abilities, and we've only seen a couple of them, right? So the stolen abilities include the indoor fish, where he's able to summon like these fish that exist only in closed areas, and they would eat humans, and the humans wouldn't die until the fish are released. So it's kind of like a very sociopathic, psychopathic sort of ability, but it is what it is, right? It's also shown that he's able to use at least short range teleportation. He teleported Nobunaga when Nobunaga tried to fight Hisoka after Nobunaga found out that Hisoka kind of sold Uvo out, right? He has possession of the Fun Fun Cloth from Owl, Owl of the Shadow Beast, where it's able to shrink anything that holds inside the cloth. And it's shown that he has the ability of the sun and moon, which is like the sun and moon markings that he got from this one elder back in Meteor City, where he has markings on his left and right hand, and anything that he touches with his left or right hand marks it with either the sun or the moon, depending on the hand. And when these markings touch each other, they explode. So he can like toss. Imagine like he can like touch two people with it, and then if the two people ever run into each other and then they touch each other, they would both explode. So it's a very very useful ability that he has with the Bandit Secret. It gives him a lot of versatility, and he can combo with a lot of things as well. So it's shown later that, you know, he borrowed Cortopi and Cortopi's ability of the gallery fake, and he was able to create a bunch of like fake people, and then he placed the sun and moon on them. He's able to compound a lot of these abilities, which gives his kit kind of like unlimited potential, because he's a very very smart person as well in how he's very methodical in the way that he fights. So it gives him a lot of potential in what he can do. So easy S tier, probably one of the strongest people in the show, actually. Now, next, let's move into Kaluto. So Kaluto is a manipulator. It's Killua's cross-dressing brother, right? So Kaluto is a manipulator. He has his nen involves confetti, like paper confetti. So he's able to attach pieces of confetti onto people, and then cut out like a paper cutout of that person and listen in on them, almost as like if somebody like bugged you, like malware, right? So somebody like bugged your like put a little microphone on you, they would be able to hear you and everything around you, essentially. So she's able to do that, and she did it it's very stealthy, because she did it on the other Phantom Troupe members and none of them noticed. And the other ability, her main attack skill, is the Dance of the Serpent, right? So she's drops a bunch of confetti and she fans it over to her target, because she has a fan. She fans it over to her target, and if any piece of confetti is stuck on the target's body, she then can gather the rest of the confetti into almost like a stream, or like a, how do I want to describe it? Like kind of like almost Ichigo's Getsuga Tensho, right? Where he can kind of like throw it at the target, and then it tears through anything that it touches, pretty much. And it's very very effective. It's very strong, because it was tearing through a Chimera Ant, even though the Chimera Ants have very strong external armor. They're exoskeletons because they're bugs. And even like Banalanov's Battle Cantabile prologue wasn't able to pierce them, right? But it was it just cut through the Chimera Ant like no problem with Kaluto's ability. So definitely strong offense. It's just that she's very young and she doesn't really have a lot of battle experience to begin with. So, and it was shown when she was watching Beitin's fight with Zazan that he wasn't able to keep up with their speed or what they were able to do. Whereas pretty much everybody else, even Shizuku, was able to. So that said, I need to put her at the bottom of C tier, or at the top of D tier, or somewhere along these lines, right? Because I can't say for certain that that Pakunoda would be able to beat her, because Pakunoda, like I said, is a support type person, whereas Kaluto has more offensive abilities, to my knowledge, right? Now, last we have the boy Hisoka Moro, right? Hisoka is, you don't really need to say a lot about him. If you watch Hunter x Hunter, you kind of know what he's capable of. He's kind of got it all, right? He's a transmuter. He's very smart, has a lot of battle experience. He's got bungee gum, right? the transmuter ability, where his Nen aura can contract and expand, contains the properties of both rubber and gum. So has a lot of versatile abilities, what he can do with bungee gum. So like in the fight with Goto, he stuck it along trees, used it to like fling himself around at extremely high speeds, confuse the enemy. He's also shown that he doesn't really experience pain at all, because even somebody like Phaeton, when he got hit by Zazan, he started feeling pain, right? But Hisoka willingly gave up both arms to Castro without any problem at all. And even later on in the manga, when he fights a certain somebody, which I will not talk about, he like got a leg cut off or something along the lines of that, and he got very injured, and he didn't even care, really. So he's very strong, like physically and mentally, and he has a lot of like things that he can do, right? So he uses bungee gum very, very freely. Like with Castro, where he used to do sling cards and attach them to Castro's body, where it contracted at such high speeds that it pierced through even Castro's Nen and it killed him. He used Nen to enhance his cards to slice Goto's neck, killing him. And he has like he's able to read people's psychology very well, where you can kind of like mess with their minds with like texture surprise, which is his other Nen ability, where he's able to kind of create like a different texture based on what it is to kind of resemble him healing his arm, for example, like in the Heavens Battle Arena, or amongst other things, right? But he is a very creative way of fighting, but he's also a very, very good fighter. So I think he's easily at the top of like somewhere in S tier as well. I'll put him above Phaeton because I believe Hisoka and Phaeton would be like a kind of, it might be a toss-up, but I know for a fact that Hisoka is really, really strong, right? And I'm pretty sure, like, because even Nobunaga said that Hisoka was stronger than he is, right? And I think he would have no problem dealing with any of these other people below S tier whatsoever, because some of like with Uvo and Finks, for example, they are strong, they have good physical ability, but the thing is, they're just not as clever or crafty as Hisoka is, where Hisoka kind of does everything that he can to kill the person, where the other people are they're more straightforward, I guess. And it's shown that Hisoka doesn't really do prolonged fights. His fights are usually decided within moments, right? He plans it out, he's very methodical, like Chrollo is, but the deciding factor of the fight usually ends within a moment. Like when he fought Goto, like when he fought Castro, unless he's going easy on the other person, like with Gon, everything ends in a moment where he just kind of cuts their neck or kills them in some other way. But I think this is what I'm happy with this is what I'm happy with on the list. I think everybody kind of belongs where they are. If you have different thoughts, please let me know. I would love to hear. I love opinions. I love different opinions. Because me and my friends have always gotten into like kind of these debates between like, oh, who's stronger, this person or that person. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you like the video, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you have any other ideas that you want me to kind of do, just let me know. Let me know in the comments. Drop a comment down below, and maybe I'll consider it. I could go for more ideas. But thanks for watching.